Church Windows allows you to track those things specifically. By entering what group or class someone is involved in, you can print a report, you can create labels, you can print worksheets on those groups and classes and hand them out like to your Sunday school teachers, and they can say who's here, who's involved, and things like that to keep track of. And we also have emailing features, so you can email out people that you've set up in a specific group if that's something you're interested in. So let's go into membership members here. And you can actually see quite quickly on an individual's record what groups and classes they are or aren't involved in. So up at the top, let me grab my highlighter. We have this little handshake icon. So if you have, like we have Jack highlighted right now, he has the little handshake icon. That tells us that if we click on it, Jack is involved in groups. So if you're seeing the handshake, that means the individual you have selected is involved in at least one group. Now if we go down and highlight, let's see if we can find someone here. Here, let's look at Anthony Page. With Anthony Page highlighted, you see that he has empty chairs instead of the handshake icon on his record. That's telling us that Anthony is not involved in any group or class. So by simply highlighting someone and just referencing or just glancing up at the top, you can see the empty chairs before you even click the button that informs you that Anthony isn't involved in anything. Okay. So let's jump back to Jack. Jack's our first record here. And just from this screen, after we click on the handshake, there's a lot of good information we can reference quickly on him. We can see the groups and classes that he is listed in along with the corresponding codes. We can see start and end dates of when he was involved. We can also see the role. So if he played a role in this group or class, if he taught it, or if he was just a student, you can see all of that. And then if we click in the box itself, you can see that you can create as many different roles as you need, depending on the class itself or the situation that you have at your church. So for this example with our sample data, we have a chair role, a teacher, and a youth assistant. So you might have a teacher, an assistant teacher, you might have leader. Really depends on the wording that you guys use for your groups. But that's where you track that. You also, if we scroll to the right, you see you have a place for comments. You can also input a transfer date if you wish. So if someone leaves a group or class, you can track when that was and also enter in a specific reason as to why they left. Okay. Now those fields are optional. You aren't required to use any of those, but you can if you wish to keep detailed information on each person's involvement. Alright, so that's how you see group and class information on a specific individual. Now I want to go in and actually show you how you set up your groups and classes. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to click on attendance right here in membership, and then I'm going to come down to set up groups classes. So when you open up your setup groups classes screen, you're going to see 3 default folders that are going to be with your install. You're going to have classes, you're going to have committees, and you're going to have musical groups. Now, you can make as many additional folders as you wish, or you can remove them. It's up to you. So for example, this screen is going to be broken down by category, department, and then your groups and classes listed below that. Now, you can even get more specific if you wish. So you could have your division, you could have a folder, and then you could have another folder within a folder. So let's say, for example, under my classes folder, I want another folder and I want to call it, say, kids' Sunday schools. So I want to actually organize this a little further than what it currently is. So I would need to highlight the main folder that I'm wanting to add the subfolder to. Okay, so I'm going to highlight classes and I'm going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to hit add department. Then I'm going to go ahead and put in, we'll call it Children's Sunday School. I'm going to hit add. You can see now I have a folder that popped up in there. I can go ahead and put in another department if I need to, or I can hit close. I went ahead and hit close. Then at this point, it's pretty simple. It's just a drag and drop method to move these classes that I have down here under my Sunday school folder. So it's a simple click and hold and then drop. And as you can see, everything is shifting now with my new folder that I made. Okay, you don't have to do a folder within a folder. You can have just a bunch of different folders listed out here if that's something that you want to do. Now, say you don't like the name of department, category, and division as the book suggests. You can go in and rename these fields. You can customize them. So a lot of people like to call it like time and talents or like my churches, we have small group, large group. You can go in and you can rename these under membership, special functions, and settings. So let me show you that real quick. We're just going to come right back to this screen, but I do want to follow what's in the book here. So under special functions, right here on membership, you can go to settings, and then down here in the bottom right hand corner, this is where you can then rename those different folders and how that screen is broken out when you set up your groups and classes. Once again, you don't have to. You can leave it as is, but the option is there. All right, so back into setup here. I do want to show you how to add a new group. So I'm on page 5 if you're following along in the book. So page 5 is showing us how to add a new committee. So now these little icons here, the brown icons, it's actually a table with people sitting around it. But these icons are your specific groups and classes. Okay, so your folders are just your departments or your categories, the ways that you're organizing your groups and classes. Then the little icons with the people around the table and the codes here listed in the brackets, those are actually your specific groups and classes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new committee, and it's going to be called the 100th Anniversary Committee. Okay, so before we come down here at the bottom and we hit our add button, I'm going to highlight the location that I want this group to go in. So I'm highlighting committees. I'm coming down to the bottom and I'm going to click this add groups and classes button. Now I have to give it a code and I have to give it a description. Okay, so in the book it gives it C09 and my description is 100th Anniversary Committee. Okay, just type your code in, type in your description and hit add. We can see now my new committee has popped up where I want it, and I can put in another group if I have a couple to add, or I can just hit close and get out of there. Okay, now if you find that you accidentally typed in or spelled something wrong, you can definitely come down to the bottom here, grab my highlighter again, and you can hit this edit button. This is going to allow you to go in and edit the description that you gave to your group or class if need be. Okay. Now let's go over here on the right and let's talk about the additional information that we have over here. I'm specifically going to go into one of my Sunday school classes that I've set up. Let's say we'll do 3rd and 4th grade. Now, as I highlight my group over here on the left, on the right, it's going to then show me the class that I have highlighted and the additional information that I have listed below. Okay, so if this is a group or class that you need to track attendance for, make sure that box has a check mark in it. If this is a group or class that you're going to want to advance people from, so you're going to need to move your 4th graders up to your 5th and 6th grade Sunday school class at the end of the school year. If that's the case, you want to make sure you have that box checked so you can advance them to the next class. Now below that we have some more additional information here. These are all optional. You don't have to use these if you don't want to, but it's kind of nice to have the option to do so. So you can get pretty detailed with tracking attendance for that Sunday school class. So if you want your teachers, when they track attendance for their Sunday school, to be able to mark who participated well, who brought a friend, or who studied the lesson, you can do so right here by setting up these additional information codes and then marking them when attendance is entered. You can also create new codes as you need them. If we hit the little down arrow here, it's going to pull up all the codes that we have. You can add new codes, or you can select to include this code for this specific Sunday school class. So if I want to be able to track who brought a friend to Sunday school, you would highlight it and hit add item to record, and then you could see it would pop over here to the right. Now brought Bible, B, isn't included over here on the right. If I want to track who brought their Bible, I know my church growing up, you were supposed to bring your Bible every Sunday. If that's the case, you can choose B, hit add item to record, and now when attendance is tracked, you can also verify or mark who brought their Bible with them. Okay? So that is what the information is over here on the right. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about one of our attendance reports so you can actually see what this information is going to look like. I went ahead and put in some attendance for this 3rd and 4th grade Sunday school class, and we're going to pull a report on that. So I'm going to go to Reports, Attendance, and Attendance Report. And down here at the bottom left, I have the information check that I want to see included about my additional information. So who brought a friend, who brought a Bible, things like that. And then I'm going to come over here to the right and I'm going to check my Sunday school class that I want reported on. You can definitely pick more than one if you wish. And then top left, I'm going to adjust my date range. So I'm going to do just January for today's example. And I'm going to hit print. And as you can see, I now have a nice printout for just the month of January. It's showing me with check marks who came on what date. It's also giving me my different letters. So E is going to be for excused. But it's also giving me my different letters for A, F, S, and B, so I can easily see who participated well, who brought a friend, who studied the lesson, and if anybody remembered to bring their Bible. And then it gives me tallies over here. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is actually editing a name, which I showed you, but I want to go into more detail, and then also how to delete a group or class, and then also reorganizing that first screen. So now we're on page 9, and it's talking about editing a group name. So let me close this and get back into membership here. Back to attendance and back to our setup group classes screen again here. Alright, so let's say I need to change the name of my 100th anniversary committee. Say I should have put 150. Okay. You can simply highlight the group that you need to adjust, and then down at the bottom, once again, I know I highlighted it, but I want to show you. You just hit the edit button, It then highlights what we're needing to adjust, and then you just click in here and backspace it out and change it to what you need. Okay, pretty straightforward on editing. I don't think I need to go into any more detail on that. Now, deleting a group. Keep in mind, if you use the donations module, you can enter donations to a specific group or class. So say you have a women's Bible study that gave money. If that's the case, the program is not going to allow you to delete that group or class because there's donations on it. Okay. Now, with that being said, if there are no donations listed or attached to that group, you can go in and delete the group itself. Okay. So, if we come down here to dinner group, I click to highlight the group. Down at the bottom, we have a red minus sign. That's our delete button. If I hit delete and there are no people currently in that group, it's going to just say delete G7 dinner group. And I can either say yes or no. It's very simple. Okay. Now, keep in mind, if you delete a group that has people in it, for example, if I come up here, actually, let me go to my Sunday school. I know this group has people in it. If I highlight that group and I come down to the bottom and I hit delete, oh, it has donations. There's that message you're going to get. Let me see if I can find one that doesn't have donations, but I know has people in it. Let's try this one. Okay, here's the message I was looking for. So if I decide I want to delete my finance committee, the program will allow me, because there are no donations on it, but it's going to tell me that it's also going to delete this group off 13 people. So if you have people assigned in a group or class and you say yes to delete that group, it's going to be gone from that person's record. So I would say be cautious when you're going in and deleting groups and classes. I know it's nice to go in and clean things up, definitely. But if you delete this, the history of this group and the people that have been assigned in it is going to be gone. Okay, so if that's what you want, you can say yes. But if you decide, I probably shouldn't be doing that, then you want to go with no. It's also going to remove attendance as well. So make sure you keep that in mind, okay? All right, so on page 11, it just goes over one more thing. It talks about kind of reorganizing this. So if you have groups or classes that you want to drag and drop into a different folder, very easy to do. Say we want to move our senior high youth fellowship group up under our children's Bible study. You can do that by simply clicking and holding and then dragging it and plopping it up there. Okay. It's pretty straightforward. You have all your controls down at the bottom for editing or adding or deleting. And then also reorganizing is just a simple drag and drop. All right, guys, that is all I have to cover for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to type those in, and myself or Josh will get you an answer. If you got the information that you were looking for, we're right at 20 after. Feel free to go ahead and close out. Carl, I see your question. You're asking, are we talking about a group as a whole that gave a donation or people that have donated within that group? Carl, we're talking about the group as a whole. So actually on the enter donation screen, you can pick one of these groups that I have listed over here on the left. So I could actually pick my women's group to give a donation as a group. If that's the case, then I cannot delete my women's group. Okay, now if myself, Rachel, is in the women's group and I give individually under my own name, that won't affect me being able to delete the group. So it's only if the group as a whole So women's group is the giver and makes the donation. All right, if you're typing, hit send just so we get it and I don't close up if you've taken the time to type something out. But if I don't see anything, I'm going to go ahead and close up shop here in the next few seconds here. All right, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you learned something new today that'll help make your job a little bit easier. If you come up with any other questions about this, just call us at our support line or shoot us an email to support@churchwindows.com and we can get you an answer that way. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.